This morning, we're going to talk a little bit about the price rises, which are due to come in on Monday, today being Saturday, which is my jab day, and I will weigh in with you as well. So, welcome back. If you're an existing watcher and subscriber, thank you to the channel. I'm Neil. I'm a 52-year-old paramedic that's been using Mounjaro for the past 6 months, and we'll talk about my progress and my weight loss a bit later on. But as I say, oh, and also if you're new, welcome to the channel as well. It's good to have you. Going to touch just a little bit upon the impending price increases, because there may be a little bit of good news around Mounjaro, and that is that there's been news releases overnight and in the last sort of half a day since yesterday that Eli Lilly are working with suppliers in the UK to possibly bring the price of Mounjaro back down again. It won't be back down to what we're already paying, but it will be what they call discounted prices. So these price hikes of like 300 odd pounds in UK for the top doses will be discounted to maybe 200 and something pounds. Now, this is going to vary from supplier to supplier, as in the pharmaceutical businesses that are selling it on to us. And we'll have a look at some of the prices that aren't quite up to date, but it might give us an indication of where we can look. And if we can move our journeys around, we can look at the potential of doing that. 1st of September on Monday, with the new Mounjaro prices set to come into place. But in the last day, there's been a news release, seems to be all over the place, that the UK is going to have the cost of Mounjaro discounted. An expected price increase for Mounjaro is set to be cut after the company who make the jab, Eli Lilly, offered UK suppliers a discounted deal just days before the change was supposed to be implemented. This could see those using the jab save more than £80 on the maximum dose. So the US manufacturer, Eli Lilly, had said previously it would be increasing the price by as much as 170% on September 1st, which we all knew about and we were worried about, and some people were stocking up quite a lot, which could have meant the cost of the highest dose going up from 122 to £330 a month. I've been looking this morning at the Monj site. Do you remember I mentioned earlier in one of the earlier videos about if you wanted to shop around when things were easier? There was a website called Monj.com, and it compared all the weight loss jabs that you could buy and gave you the best prices. Because I know a lot of people that don't just stick with one supplier, they move around and try and get it at discounted prices anyway. But looking at the Monj site here, so for example, with Asda right at the top here, and for the highest dose pen, £298.97, which now Asda and AYP, I've never heard of who they are. Bolt, some of these I don't know. Check up, this is who I'm with, and that looks extortionate, to be honest. That might be well worth considering. Which is, yeah, that's who I'm currently with. Chemist for You, £354 for the highest dose pen. Now, this is as of the 27th of August, so a couple of days old now. So I'm assuming that this does not reflect what Eli Lilly have confirmed is going to happen with this possible discount. Now, just looking at this, so the report that I was reading goes on to say this would have pushed the cost of the strongest dose from £122 to £330 monthly. Well, as we've just seen, it's even more than that, isn't it? However, documents viewed by Sky News reveal the discount scheme means 15 milligram pens, the highest dose of Mounjaro, will climb from £122 per month to £247.50. Right, so that's interesting because I've never known anyone pay 122. That's cost price, I'm sure, isn't it? Because who's paid 122 pound for the highest dose pen? Let me know if you have. It'd be interesting to see. Reading on, an Eli Lilly spokesman said, "We are working with private providers on commercial arrangements to maintain affordability and expect these to be passed on to the patients. We will see. When the change is effective on the 1st of September, we are already seeing providers respond in different ways to the list price change, with a range of options available for eligible patients. We also want to work in partnership with the government to expand NHS access for eligible patients." Now, that's an interesting one. It'll be interesting to know because NICE Guidelines, who basically write the guidelines in the UK, and it differs between the UK, Wales, Northern Ireland, and Scotland, but they already go by what obviously the research from the manufacturers suggest anyway, and then base it on the affordability of the NHS being able to supply it. So I don't know what can change there. And I would have assumed, and I'm sure I've read somewhere that there was already an existing contract for the NHS side of prescriptions, for example. We also want to work in partnership with the government to expand NHS access for eligible patients, building on the commitments in the government's 10-year plan. See, this is what I've read, and I thought that was in place. Whether it's adjustable as it goes along, maybe dependent on what's available and the uptake and how many people are on that, but they would be using projected figures for this. So the projected figures, I'm sure, would be based on what the guidelines target in way of like the BMI being 40 rather than 30 or 35. So that's an interesting one. Olivier Picard, the chairman of the National Pharmacy Association, said pricing is a matter for the manufacturers, and pharmacies will do all they can to support patients when prices change. This rebate will mitigate some of the impact of the increase in Mounjaro prices faced by pharmacies, but patients should still anticipate seeing a rise in prices from September the 1st. So, in a nutshell, we know there's going to be a price hike. We have been expecting that. And it's what we sort of hinted at, isn't it? That they're going to tell us this is how much it really could be, but really it's going to be this much. So it's still a lot more than what we were getting it for, but it's not as bad. And maybe it will mean that some people can stay on it. So let's have a look. I mean, yeah, looking at these here again, the Monj site, like I say, whether this will be updated again, of course it will. Surprised how it didn't get updated yesterday. It's the 30th of August today. This was last updated on the 27th. I dare say Monj are really waiting until everyone's going to be waiting until they know exactly what it is. So that said, I've had a lot of information from people that watch the channel. They're still really worried, and most people are still thinking that they're going to be priced out of using the Mounjaro. So already people are moving over to Wegovy. Seen a lot of comments on this, and as you've seen in the past videos, that is not a bad option. It's a shame for the people that have already tried Wegovy because they know that it doesn't always suit them, or maybe it wasn't as effective. If it wasn't as effective and you didn't get quite the results you wanted compared to Mounjaro, maybe it's an option to try it again. I already know again that there's people that, in fact, one person I recall said that their eating habits actually went the other way and they ate more on Wegovy, which we don't want anything like that happening, do we? But it's possible. Unfortunately, these medications don't work in the same way for everybody, and there will be always the exception. Now, I'm getting a lot of messages from people saying that they haven't been able to renew because they're being told that the pens that they want are out of stock. Now, I've been really lucky this week. For those that watch the channel who already know, I use a company called Checkup, and this is by no means an advertisement for them, but it's gone really well. It's the second company I've used. I was with Juniper originally, which I only changed because it was in the early days. It was a good scheme that they had. They had an app. I was sent some scales, which I still use. They still work for me. It's not like I have to be using their app, which I did to start with. But it was just a little bit expensive at the time because they had a support system through the app that just wasn't there for me. And as they obviously got busier, the support was waning a little bit. So I didn't feel I needed the support because of what we do on the channel. We support each other, and you can find out the advice and information because people like me like to share what they can, and people like you like to share your information back. So that information is readily available. So I ended up with Checkup, and I usually get an email from them at the end of the month. And it's usually around the 28th of the month, which just happens to be payday, which is a strange one, isn't it? I'm sure that's just how it fell with my plan. But it does make me think. But I haven't had that email this month. And I am due to order my next pen. Now, luckily, because of the way things have gone with starting to use this golden dose that we do, it's allowed me to keep my pen in the fridge. So what that means is I'm okay for a couple of weeks because I've still got my existing 7.5 milligram pen. And if you follow me, then you know that I'm split dosing, microdosing, whatever you want to call it, twice a week, split that 7.5 into 3.75s every 3.5 days, which is working well for me. So what I did do, I logged into my account on Checkup just to see what the state of play was. Didn't say anything about your next order is due or anything like that. But it did have a little box, order your next pen now. And I'm due a next pen and I'm not stockpiling. I couldn't afford to stockpile, and those that do, good luck to you. But it did let me order a pen, which I was really surprised with because I've already had lots of emails, lots of messages and comments on the previous videos that I've done where people have been stopped from being able to order more with certain, not all, companies. I am aware that some people have been allowed to order still more and more pens. Now, this sounds ridiculous, doesn't it? I know somebody that has 21 15 milligram pens in their fridge. Let that one mull over for a little while. I'm not mentioning any names or anything, but this person admits that they will never get round to using these. But imagine that, 21 pens. And it's not like you can just go out and sell them on. It's food for thought, isn't it? Whereas some people just can't get them off their existing suppliers. I was quite surprised that I was able to get it. I was expecting to say no stock, and I got it at the same price. In fact, I'll tell you what I've done. Nearly forgot to tell you this. This is quite a change. I've ordered a 10 milligram pen for my next doses, and it's not to go up to 10 milligrams. I am going to take a risk. This is not advice. This is not what I suggest anybody doing, but purely because I anticipate that I will be using this more for maintenance because I expect, and I haven't weighed yet this morning, I'm going to do my weigh-in live, not live recorded. I'm not prepared yet. So you will see the weight as I see it. But my idea is I've gone up to the 10 milligram pen and it's cost me. And according to them, it's on its way to me. I've paid for postage and I've paid the old price. Now, I only ordered this yesterday, which was the 29th. Like I say, I usually get the email on the 28th. That didn't come. So I logged on and I haven't tried to order more, but I paid £189 plus postage for a 10 milligram pen. And looking at Checkup's new list, according to Monge, as of the 27th, that's projected to be £309.99. Now, I'm hoping that this new discount that they're talking about from Eli Lilly and what Sky News have reported today, I'm hoping that discount is applied to that. It's not going to come down to £189, but if it comes down to something that's more affordable for people over here in the UK that have already been paying a better price, we've had it good for a long time, but is good the right price? I think it probably was. Are people paying more than they possibly should be in other countries? Yes, I think they probably are. I had a little chat about this with Laurie from GLP Journey in Review. Have a look at the video. It's an interesting little chat, and it opens up all sorts of cans of worms. All this said, let's not panic, because it could still be achievable, and it could still be that we're going to be okay. We still don't know. It's almost like they keep dangling these carrots and leading us down these avenues that we're not sure where we're going to end up. Everyone's been worried about the price hikes. Yes, I appreciate that. Now they're talking about this discount. That's music to our ears, because it's not going to be as high as we thought it was. But we need to know what those discounts are going to be, really, don't we? Daily record here. Mounjaro price announcement has changed, set for Monday. When are these discounted prices going to come in? Sky News, as I say, cost of weight loss drugs, Mounjaro to be discounted. The Sun, Mounjaro cost to be discounted. Now, before we do go and sort of get ourselves really worried about this, although I've been able to order my new 10 milligram pen, which I will microdose down to, and I will initially microdose it down to what I'm already on, with the intention of maybe dropping down, because I anticipate that I'll be on a maintenance dose, and that means try and just like keep going with a view eventually to coming off it. That's the plan. There's no reason why, if it's affordable, that I can't stay on it. But if I am priced out of the game, I'm still considering the Wegovy. But that's an interesting point now, because what's going to happen with Wegovy? Wegovy will, hopefully, I've never used Wegovy. And for those that haven't seen it, most have, that's on the channel, my interview with my brother Russ, who lives in Australia, who I only found out the other week was actually on weight loss injections. He knew that I'd been on them, and then suddenly he was chatting to me, and I thought he looked well, and I've discussed all this, and he dropped out to me that he was on Wegovy. So for the channel, he was kind enough to do an interview and talk to us all about how he was getting on with Wegovy. So that is where my mind still is, really. Now, Wegovy just tends to give us the suppression side of things. For those that it works with, it's renowned to not be as effective as Mounjaro. But for those people that have been on the journey a little while and coming towards the end and looking more at maintenance, it may be the option. But again, for those that are just starting out, I really feel for you, because, it just feels unfair, doesn't it, that you come across this miracle drug that it's being called for most people, not all, because it doesn't work for all of us. But then these prices go up. But let's not panic too much. There's options out there. And talking about Wegovy, though, if you look at these articles here, this article from the Sun Online, sales of Fat Jab Wegovy, the way they call it, Fat Jab, increased by 2,000% in the last month as dieters stock up after Mounjaro price hike. This is the problem. Are the manufacturers of Wegovy sort of thinking, oh, there's a penny to be made here? Let's hope not. Let's hope that they just see for what it is, because they're going to be making a killing. My only concern will be that the people that then go on to Wegovy are able to continue to get it, and that the supplier and the manufacturers keep up with the demand. It'd be interesting to know, and I'm still getting through the comments. I'm reading all the comments. I'm not replying to all. I'm replying to as many questions I get as I can. Hopefully I haven't missed any. And I've had some lovely comments back. So thank you, everybody, for the superb comments. It's great. Keep them coming. I do read them. But I'd be interested to know how people are getting on with the switch. Now, that's only going to be sort of happening about now if people are switching. So I'd love to see how people get on and see if we can spread some positivity about the move, the change. But we'll be honest at the same time as well. If it's not quite as effective for some people, we'll see what we can sort of talk about around that. But we are a positive channel. We do positive things. I'll always report on the things that may be a bit concerning, but we'll always try and put a positive spin where we can. I always said, and I was having a chat with someone the other day, if it turned out one day that I couldn't take weight loss injections again anymore and I had to stop, with how it's helped get me to where I am now, I am in such a frame of mind that I just want to keep my health going in the right direction. I have transformed my life in the last 6 months. I've gone from this to someone that feels healthier. My blood pressure has come right down. My cholesterol needs checking because it was coming down, but it was still high last time I checked. It's been about 3 months. I'll see my GP if I can get hold of them, which is another story. If I can get that done, I'll keep you updated on that. But I just feel generally much better in myself, and people are telling me I look well. I have had a few people saying you don't look well because of the weight I've lost, but we all get that, don't we? That doesn't bother me too much. But carrying on with the positivity, we have another set of progress pictures from people that watch the channel, which I absolutely love because these are the things that keep all of us pushing on to see how people are getting on. This one, just a quick message to say thank you for your channel. It's been a font of knowledge. I've gone from 17 stone 8 to 14 stone 5 on 5 milligram pens. He's got 1 stone to go. Many thanks again. Keep up the good work. And that's from Aid. And Aid, I was absolutely blown away by this picture. This is fantastic. You look like two totally different people. You look so much fitter, so much healthier, and you look younger. And this is what we can do. This is what we can do. Yes, this is Mounjaro. Yes, I'm hoping it can be Wegovy, but I'm hoping it can just be anybody that wants to transform their life and just get themselves back into shape. This is what we can achieve. So Aid, well done to you, sir. And thank you for sending this pic in. I am absolutely chuffed to bits for you. Well done. Right, I'm going to do a live weigh-in. And when I say live, this isn't happening right now, but it's been recorded right now. Usually I do my weigh-in before I start doing the recordings on a Saturday morning. But today, we'll see how it is straight away. So hopefully you didn't see that quick stitch in the video there because I never have my last week's weight ready. So I've got it up on the screen now. So last week, it was well, it wasn't quite a week ago. It's Saturday today. I did the weigh-in on Monday because it was a bank holiday last week. I'm waffling again. Last Monday, it was 97.5 kilos, which is 215 pounds, 15 stone, 5 pounds. So that means I'm 5 pounds away from my final target. Let's see what I am today. I always wear pretty much the same things every week. So literally just my shorts, nothing else. So apologize for the bare skin, but let's see exactly what we are today. So just a reminder, last week I was 97.5 kilos, which is 215 pound, 15 stone, 5 pound. Here we go. Oh, 96 kilos. So another 1.5 kilos off. So getting so close to target now. I could be hitting my overall target this time next week, which will be absolutely amazing for me. So today, 96 kilos, which is 212 pounds, 15 stone, 2 pounds. 2 pounds away from my goal. It's amazing. And this is what's achievable and this is what we can do. So if that doesn't get people in the positive mood, let's try and put the price changes to one side for the moment. Think about our health. When I started Mounjaro, I really was in the balance because I looked at the prices then. I was thinking, oh my God, £100 odd going up to £200 a month as you work up. Because when I first started, I saw the plan and it was you start at 2.5 and ended up on 15. And it's over the weeks of talking to doctors and talking to colleagues at work that if you can stay on the lower doses, if it works for you. Now, as you know, I've been on fairly low doses and it's only the last few weeks that I've gone up to the 7.5s, only halfway through the plan. And I've achieved this on mostly the 5 milligram doses, which I ended up split dosing. I'm not saying that works for everybody, but it just goes to show what we can achieve on a lower dose of Mounjaro. So if you're just starting out now and you're starting on the 2.5s and you're able to afford that, and that works for you for a long time, stick with it. If it's working, that's what we want it to do. It's cost effective, and the risk of those serious side effects are much less likely to happen. We know that the serious side effects are more likely, talking to endocrinologists and the people in the know out there, they're more likely at the higher doses. It's not impossible to get them at lower doses, but it's less likely. And just look what's achievable. Yes, there are people that it doesn't work well for, and they need to climb the doses, which I do feel for if you're spending the higher amounts of money. But the thing I was going to say is when I started, I balanced off with the amount of the amount I was eating, the amount we were spending on food shopping, takeaways, rubbish foods that cost the earth. And healthy food costs the earth as well. We all know that, don't we? But I've made such a difference in my lifestyle that it's saved me a fortune on takeouts. Don't get me wrong, as I've mentioned before, I still have the odd takeout and enjoy them, but I eat nothing like I used to. The amount, you will be so surprised, and people will agree with this, I'm sure, the people that are already following the channel, that you just don't eat as much and you realize you don't need to eat as much as you used to. That's one of the big things that I'd like to say about Mounjaro. You realize that your food intake is just adequate. And the other advice is count the calories to people. I had a gentleman in that was diabetic into the surgery the other day, and we were talking about his Mounjaro, and he was really surprised about how little he eats compared to what he used to. And he realized why he became diabetic type 2, because his diet was just ridiculous. And he was slowly losing weight, but he was on it through the NHS for his diabetes. And it's bringing his blood sugars into a better place where they need to be. His HbA1c, which is the blood test that we do to establish whether we are in the diabetic range or not. He was pre-diabetic for a long time before, and then steadily over the years, he crept into that range. And now that's improving again on Mounjaro. But the other side of that is that he is teaching himself about foods and what he needs to eat and what he can get by on. Lesson over. We don't need to be going on about this, but I just want people to be aware that this really can help. I'm really chuffed today. I'm so close to my goal weight. Hopefully this time next week, I'll be saying we did it. Anyway, while we're here, let's get the jab done for today. So it'll be another 3.75 milligram jab. As I say, I do this twice a week, and that makes me the 7 milligrams over 7 days. Let's get set up and get it done. So I've got my pen ready, and I'm going to fly through this quite quickly because we don't need to go through all. I've done lots of videos where I do this, and I'm split dosing. So pen's ready. We have our little wipe all ready to go. Now this little sterile alcohol wipe here cleans that part of the pen there, the little seal. I always give it a little wipe over here. It's not necessarily for cleaning the site, which I always go into the abdo. And then we have our needle, which we discussed on many times before. That comes off. Make sure it's a brand new needle every time. And that gets offered up nice and squarely to there. We tighten that just enough that it forms the seal. this bit comes off and we keep it for when we get rid of the needle. Then we prime it, so that's literally 2 little clicks onto that little mark there, making sure there's no bubbles in here, making sure that this is all in good order. I saw one of these on, I think it was Facebook, one of the Mounjaro sites yesterday, I believe, and someone had a really cracked one of them. If you've got any cracks in here or any debris in that fluid there, which should be clear or slightly tinged, send it back. You can already see a bead of fluid appearing at the top of my needle, which means the needle works. We had a little jet, a little few bubbles there. That's ready to go. Now, if you're starting for the first time, that turny dial there goes all the way around to number 1 for 1 dose. Me, however, I have a mark on here because I'm split dosing. Where's my mark? I made a very crude mark on there with Biros, which took me about 10 minutes to make the mark because a marker pen would be better, for 30 clicks. So we're all ready to go. So we're primed. It's still coming out a little bit. That's normal. Let's quickly do the jab. Right, it's just easier if I show you the jab. Now, I came over this side before, which was the right side. I went right upper. I'm going to go left lower here. So that's all ready to go. I'm all clean. I've just showered. Hands are always washed. I use the alcohol gel before I start anyway. Make sure this is comfortable in the hands here. Thumbs ready to go. Little pinch here of the subcutaneous fat. We're going to go in straight like so. Little bit of pressure and deliver that dose into there. Nice and slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. As we went in, we come out nice and straight, checking there's no blood. Then we get that little cap that we saved goes back on here, and then we can put that straight in our sharps box. Cap back on. And in fact, still got a couple of doses left, obviously. That goes back in there. Hopefully my 10 milligram pen will be arriving hopefully Monday or Tuesday. It's ordered. They haven't told me that they can't deliver it, so I'll keep you updated on that. Let's see what happens for next week. I'll try and get an update for you out on Wednesday. If there's anything to report on, if there's anything on the discounts, keep the comments coming. I'll read all of them, and I try and at least send you a little love heart back to let you know that I'm still here and I'm still reading, because sort of become friends with all the people in the community. And if you're interested in becoming part of our community, it costs you absolutely nothing to do so. There is a membership bit, but you don't have to do that. But for those that like to, you get entered into the competitions, and I'll always reply to the people that are members because it's part of the plan. But you don't have to. And if I do get a chance to reply, I always will. But keep the comments coming. It's great to have you. If you're not a subscriber and you think this channel helps, drop me a little subscribe, and it's great to have you part of our team. Have a great weekend. Have a great week until Wednesday. We'll try and do an update for you there, but I'll definitely see you by next week to see if I do meet that target. Speak to you soon. Have a good one. Bye-bye.